The first one usually watched the 63rd universe with minimal interference, but the continued use of Element 115 worried it. It first intervened in Nacht der Untoten in several ways. First, it created magical floating power-ups using ethereal energy to assist the Marines in their fight. It then created weapons from chalk to arm the Marines. It then created the mystery box based on Samantha's toy box as another amusing way to arm the Marines. It found the Perxicola that Group 935 made to be hilarious, so it set in motion to hijack the idea of Perxicola for its own purposes. It didn't matter, and the Marines died in the Battle of Nacht der Untoten. The 4 other Marines that had arrived with tanks saw Verrückt was in shambles. They made their own last stand in the Battle of Verrückt. The first one again tried to help these Marines out, but it wasn't adept at interfering in a not-so-indirect fashion.
It's over. No, it ain't over. This is just the beginning. 2
of the Marines died. The third, named Smokey, also died, and Element 115 reanimated his body. John Banana was the 4th Marine. He claimed his friends liked to call him Banana. He decapitated the zombified Smokey and was appalled that he kept coming at him. John's mind deteriorated due to some combination of all of the mental stress of zombies and his comrades dying, as well as the Element 115 affecting his mind. He wrote several limericks, as well as a recording while trying to survive against the zombies before he too died.
Field report. A quiet retort. The mission has all gone south. It's Johnny here. Smokey is near, most likely with meat in his mouth. We've been here for ages. I ran out of pages, but now have a mic to record. The mission has failed. McCain must have bailed, and now we must fight off a horde. We came to Verrückt with low ammo and luck, and now Smokey's lost his head. We went down the halls, they bit Smokey's balls, and now he walks with the dead. They call me Banana, I worked at a cabana. I rhyme to keep myself sane. Though Smokey is dead, I'm holding his head, which right now is eating my brain.
Smokey 31473, date September 17th, 1945. Diary. Today is damn dirty Nazi. That's right. You want some of this? I'm taking you home in bags. Freak. Nine. A good thing for America. Okay, now. I suppose this must be the replacement special. Time to get to work. I can still hear you. Hit him again with the stick!
On September 17, 1945, Richthofen began his tests on his new American test subject, Tank, alongside his other test subjects at the Siberian outpost.
Entry 1474, date September 20th, 1945. Diary. It would seem that the OSS realized that we captured one of their spies. They tried to send a rescue team into Verrückt. That was all first batch of test subjects. I suspect there are other moles in the organization. Dr. Harvey Ena and Dr. Peter McKay, to be precise. Dr. McKay include any Americans in Group 935, no matter how much genius they held. Stupid Americans with their apple pies and baseball and children. But I digress. The new American test subject is interesting, and muscular. His intellect seems low, but his will is strong. Like others, he doesn't seem to know who he is anymore. Unlike the others, he keeps breaking for restraints and shooting at me. Test subject N3WB is still staring at the floor, muttering what sounds like some kind of proverb over and over again. I think his mind may have been destroyed by the process. Oh well. The Russian subject recently began responding to stimuli, but only after injecting him with a new serum made primarily from vodka. Perhaps this is a breakthrough we've been waiting.
By September 20th, 1945, Richthofen discovered that Element 115 in large doses could be used to wipe memories entirely from the test subjects' minds. He managed to brainwash them and remove their pasts, even if there were some side effects. The procedures made Tank, Nikolai, and Takeo very obedient to him. The scientists at Kino der Toten thought the brainwashing was a huge success and hoped such technology would benefit their zombie control experiments. Portraits of Tank Nikolai Takeo and Richthofen, made by the artist Wendy, were hung in Kino der Toten in commemoration of the event. Meanwhile, at der Riese, Maxis and the secretary Sophia started to have feelings for one another. Secretly, Maxis was worried that Element 115 was affecting his mind, and the allowed existence of Richthofen's monkey bomb only reinforced his worry.
Log entry 1475, date October 1st, 1945. As for the control group tests, they have been put on hold. Recently, I discovered that Dr. Max does not plan mass producing the DG2 as he swore he would. If he won't move those plans forward, then I will continue following his dream of an undead army. He doesn't deserve his perch of power. He doesn't know what to do with it. But I know just what to do with him. And I'll take care of that little brat if I get the chance to.
On October 1st, 1945, the zombie control group tests were put on hold. Maxis also refused to mass-produce the Wunderwaffe DG2. After all, the Reichstag High Command was gone. Richthofen was not happy about his prized invention being cancelled, and he spent more time plotting at Eagle's Nest. By this time, Richthofen invented the quantum entanglement device, or QED, which used the theory of quantum entanglement in element 115 to manifest things at random. Also by this time, Porter had created another invention called the Zap Guns, which could be put together to form the wave gun. Porter himself remained neutral in the factions of Group 935 behind Maxis or Richthofen that became more evident each day. Richthofen sent both his QEDs and Porter's Zap Guns to be used in Griffin Station. In the search for Element 115, Group 935 came across the western town that once held Michael Faraday. The entire town had faced a catastrophic event after being introduced to Element 115 and became temporally displaced underground Angola in Africa by 1945. Remarkably, people still lived there. Porter and some other scientists left for that isolated town, and the town let them stay as refugees. While he was there, Porter modified the ray gun to energize Element 115 more in a greenish glow. He then further enhanced the entire model, building off of it, creating the second generation, the Ray Gun Mark II.
Eagle's Nest, this is Griffin Station. We have an update. Over.
Dr. Quote, have you made any progress?
Yes, Doctor. The machine is ready and awaiting the conduit.
Very good. I will proceed with Operation Shield and join you shortly.
Security Protocol 935.
Yes. I will dispose of Dr. Maxis and that little brat personally. Do not touch anything.
When Richthofen received word from Groff that the MPD was fully powered and ready, he began Operation Shield, which involved activating the emergency zombie containment protocol of der Riese so that Richthofen could destroy der Riese and destroy Maxis. Around this time, he also received a note from the Illuminati telling him to kill Maxis. Having acquired some more Element 115, Maxis resumed the teleporter testing. Instead of testing people, which had already shown working success, he put Fluffy in the teleporter. Maxis commenced Test 6, with Richthofen handling the recalibration.
Initiating test number 6. Subject is within test chamber. Activate power. Damn it, Edward! Did you set up the device correctly?
Yes, Doctor. As per your specifications.
If you had done it to my specifications, then it would have worked, wouldn't it? As usual, your incompetence has...
What? Do you hear that, Doctor?
Quiet, you fool! Test number 6 is a failure, but the experiment has caused some kind of electrical force to energize within the chamber. Well, open the door!
Doctor, I don't think...
Open the door! Now!
Daddy, what are you doing with Fluffy?
Damn it, Samantha, I told you never to come in here. Edward, get her out of here.
Yes, Doctor.
What's wrong with her? Daddy, what did you do? Fluffy!
Come back here, Samantha! Stop her! Easy. Come here, Samantha. Good girl, Flossie. Gently, Samantha. That's not Flossie anymore. We must get out of here. What? Edward, what are you doing? Open the door! Edward, open this door now!
I'm scared.
Don't go! Stay by me, Samantha!
Goodbye, Dr. Maxis.
Fluffy disappeared and then reappeared in a ball of electricity as a hound. Samantha came looking for Fluffy and saw what was happening. Richtofen, seizing his opportunity, locked Maxis and Samantha inside the room with Fluffy. They made a dash for the teleporter. However, since Richtofen hadn't recalibrated it, it sent them to different places. Maxis was teleported to the western town underneath Africa. Fluffy was teleported into the ether. As a hound, she survived and even gave birth to puppies that became even more hounds.
Mr. Schuster, report.
The tanks are full and the shields are down. The machine is humming nicely.
Good. And what of the shipment?
Most are buried outside of the base. The live ones we've sent back to Christopher Poston.
Excellent. There's nothing left but to wait for Dr. Richtofen's return.
Perhaps this is a good time to work on my low-gravity putting in the biodome.
Yes, a little leisure time would.
Intruder detected. Receiving bay. This is not a
Security, report.
This is not a drill.
Can you repeat?
She's coming right toward them.
Get her! Get back here! Nein, do not let her! Damn it! Dr. Schuster, find a way to get her out of the pyramid. I will contact Edward and let him know there has been an incident.
Samantha was teleported to Griffin Station. At Griffin Station, all of the bodies whose souls were put in the MPD were buried outside. The leftover ones who hadn't been killed were sent to a place called Christopher Poston. Schuster was also working on a low-gravity putty in the biodome, adding it to the list of inventions made at Griffin Station, including pressurized external suits, gamma-ray specs, the hacker, the xenon belt, and excavators. Then the alarm sounded that there was an intruder, Samantha. In a panic, she ran towards the MPD, which was open. When she entered, it closed. The MPD connected Samantha's soul to the ether. While her body was trapped in the MPD, she gained many ethereal powers and could see much like the first one did. She now had the power to control the zombies. Immediately following Teleporter Test 6, zombies began to overrun their Riese, and every person a zombie was contained inside, except Richtofen knew a secret way out.
But I'm all out of hope. Auf Wiedersehen, my friend.
Warning, the shield is now active.
Damn it!
Scientists
I can't find my pills.
designated materials and report to the barracks.
They are coming.
This is not a drill.
I must do what I must do.
The shield is now active.
God forgive us all.
To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. Scientists are to destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks.
Richtofen left for Eagle's Nest, where Groff contacted him.
How did she end up there? No matter. I know what must be done. In the meantime, see if you can find Dr. Maxis. Perhaps he can talk some sense into her.
Did you not deal with him already?
Yes, but if the child ended up there, then Maxis must be somewhere too. Find him.
How do you propose?
Dr. Groff, I cannot do everything for you. I leave this in your capable hands. There is much to be done.
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, and Groff?
Yes.
I keep an eye out for an evil-looking dog while you're at it.
Schuster and Groff contacted Richtofen and told him what happened. Richtofen instructed them to find Maxis and keep an eye out for Fluffy. For some reason, Maxis was trapped in the town and couldn't leave. Never knowing about Griffin Station, Maxis believed that his daughter was trapped in the ether, and he tried to get her back. He began to study ethereal energy that originated from the ether, and he began to do experiments with ethereal energy. He devised a machine that used electricity to manipulate energy fields to open a gateway to harness ethereal energy called the Paralyzer. Ethereal energy was practically limitless and had strange effects on portions of relative time. Maxis used this to create a time bomb that allowed the user's relative time frame to reverse, but it only worked from once it was used. Maxis realized the power that could come by controlling the ether, and he feared this is what Richthofen would eventually attempt to do. So as a preventive measure, he constructed his Plan B. It was a device that, if 3 global polarization devices were constructed, would channel the energy to change who was controlling the ether's energy. For safekeeping, the Plan B was put into the back of the courthouse. Maxis also managed to use ethereal energy to bring a female, Samantha he hoped, back from the dead. However, it brought back the wrong woman, Sarah Faraday. Sarah then came back to haunt her old mansion. Using a contraption derived from the Griffin Station computers, the MPD, and a sample of Maxis's biology, Schuster and Groff developed a device that literally plucked Maxis from wherever he was and teleported him directly to them. Not long after, the American town underneath Africa became abandoned due to complications likely with Sarah Faraday, save for one person who was trapped in a jail cell and unable to leave. Maxis was angry and confused, but Groff claimed there were more important issues than petty squabbles. Groff and Schuster explained what had happened.
I hope this works. Schuster, power it up.
Systems nominal. Accessing the device. Interface via MTD active. Accessing MTD. MTD integrity check nominal. Awaiting input.
Excellent. Bring the sample.
Analyzing MTD. Creating profile. Profile created.
Excellent. Now, scan for target.
Yes, Doctor.
Target located.
Bring him here. Immediately.
Greetings, Dr. Maxis. Schuster, I should have known. Where is that rat Edvard? Where are we? And how did you get me out of that wretched...
None of that is important right now. Allow me to fill you in.
Samantha, honey, Daddy is here. Come, dear, please. Open the machine. Daddy will not let them hurt you anymore. Honey, Daddy knows he's made some mistakes. I am truly sorry that you were put through so much. When your mother died, I could not bear the thought of losing you, too. That's why I kept you so close. I did not mean to neglect you. I just wanted to know you were safe from harm.
Daddy!
I love you, Samantha.
I love you too, Daddy.
Can you do something for me? Something very important.
Yes.
Kill them all. No! We are doomed.
All of the scientists at Griffin Station went to the MPD. Maxis and Samantha talked, with Maxis trying to calm her down. Vengeful, Maxis asked Samantha to kill them all. It is unknown who shot Maxis at that point, but it made Samantha snap. When Maxis died in front of the MPD, his soul got sucked up into it. The MPD was hardwired into the Griffin Station mainframe, and Maxis was able to enter the mainframe to preserve himself. After Samantha killed most, if not all, of the people present at Griffin Station, the power went out, essentially freezing Maxis. Samantha then turned her sights on Richthofen. Richthofen at that time was visiting Shi No Numa when Peter arrived. Cornelius had told Peter to try to speak with either Maxis or Richthofen for help, believing that one of them may help him. Peter believed his cover to still be intact, and he needed help.
R-4808N 37 14 06 115
must know by now that we failed to contain the asylum. Now we had to move the experiment here. Indication. The numbers will guide you. The giant must remain all costs. Repeat. Der Riese must remain safe at all costs. The DG2 experiments continue. Might be our only advantage now. Find Dr. Max. They may know what's going on. The use of drone 115 is dangerous at best. I'm not sure we can continue here. We've lost most of our best. I hope you get this. I hope it hasn't happened there too. But I'm almost out of hope.
60 54 06.96 101 55 44.94.
Peter approached Richthofen in a time of need, but Richthofen realized that Peter was an American spy. So Richthofen hanged Peter by his own parachute. Richthofen then left to go back to the Siberian outpost, since Eagle's Nest had been overrun with zombies not long after Griffin Station was, and he decided to go check out what had happened at Verrückt and the accompanying site of Nacht der Untoten. He took his 3 test subjects with him to use as an obedient armed force. Tank, Nikolai, Takeo, and Richthofen, also known as the test subjects or just the subjects, went to Nacht der Untoten and fought zombies there. They then moved to Verrückt and fought zombies there. The first one tried its tricks at assisting at those sites and managed to assist the subjects enough to actually survive. The first one would continue to help out in every battle with zombies that it considered warranting divine intervention. Richthofen found out that Shi No Numa had been overrun with zombies just after he had left previously, so they then traveled to Japan.
We're here. This is the place.
Finally, I was getting tired of Takeo's rambling.
Shut up, Nikolai, and get your gear.
They fought the zombies in the Battle of Shi No Numa. When the zombies started attacking at Shi No Numa, the subjects used the comms to send an SOS signal. Nearby was an Allied force. However, the respondent of the SOS signal was not the Allied force, but rather the United States in the form of a recon squad of Marines. The recon squad never made direct contact with them, but they collected intel on who the 4 were. The United States sent other Marines to Der Riese. The Marines were mostly unsuccessful at procuring anything but scattered information. One Marine provided a full list of all the weapons that were available in Der Riese that could be upgraded. The United States also sent follow-up Marines to the site of Nacht der Untoten, and they noted the presence of an eerie radio. A Soviet expedition also arrived at the site of Nacht der Untoten, noticing that the radio played their homeland's victory song. Richthofen led Tank, Nikolai, and Takeo in an escape from Shi No Numa to a teleporter somewhere. They used it to teleport to Der Riese.
What the hell just happened? Everyone okay?
Oh, I feel like I will throw up.
A mere side effect, Russia. Everything is normal.
Let's get this done.
By this time, New Year's had passed, and the subjects fought off zombies in the Battle of Der Riese. A solar eclipse blocked the sun this day in 1946. They activated the fly trap, and Samantha responded by playing a game of hide and seek.
I want to play a game. Let's play hide and seek.
They found 2 teddy bears and a monkey bomb that she had scattered around Der Riese.
Yay! You found one. Wow! You found another one.
However, the activity served no purpose. One of them threw a monkey bomb into the furnace in the furnace room, which made Samantha angry.
Why are you so cruel to Mr. Monkey? Mr. Monkey just wanted to play!
After a long battle, someone acquired a Wunderwaffe DG2 and fired it in the teleporter, causing it to overload and teleport them into the future. In January 1946, the OSS was disbanded and replaced with a Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA. In July 1947, the United States government created a top-secret division called Majestic 12, which handled the Roswell incident, where an alien spacecraft crash-landed in Roswell, New Mexico, United States. The aliens were taken to Area 51 in Nevada, the most top-secret facility of the United States. There they were cryogenically frozen and tested upon for years. Also, there was a Group 935 survivor from v.III. He traveled to the United States and told Chase Retlin, an interrogator working for the CIA, about a mirrored device that allowed the viewing of images from the past. The survivor mysteriously died shortly after that. The United States sent a military force to v.III. However, the Soviet Union also sent a military force. The result was a standoff between the two groups. The Soviet Union won the standoff and gained control of the facility. Pavel Gorky was involved in the Soviet side of the standoff. He later went on to create the front company Gorky Korolev Medical, or GKM, that housed an improved, more deadly version of Nova 6. On August 12, 1948, American junior analyst Ryan Jackson sent a report to Chief Analyst John Abrams analyzing the German Wunderwaffe program. On April 4, 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, an alliance of many countries such as the United States, United Kingdom, and many others, was formed. Over the next few years, the United States started leeching files from the Dayton-Bedienstedter in v.III. using a CIA asset based out of Vozrozhdeniya, Soviet Union. These files were stored separately from the CIA's computer server. They were instead stored on the newly created Dreamland server. On July 14, 1954, Dr. Vannevar V.B. Bush, the leader of Majestic 12 and administrator of the Dreamland server, sent an email to John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Lyndon Baines Johnson, Richard McGarrah Helms, Richard Kane, Richard Milhouse Nixon, William Reborn, and T. Walker, telling them that access to the Dreamland server had been restricted to Majestic 12 members alone. By October 5, 1955, the United States acquired the remains of Verrückt. Everything they could find was cataloged. On this day, Dr. Julius Robert Oppie Oppenheimer of Majestic 12 sent an email to Bush detailing his interest in a limerick from John Banana that he found in the archive and that was found in Verrückt next to an empty M1919 Browning. Bush replied on the same day, having found another limerick. Oppenheimer replied on October 24, 1955, with two new limericks detailing the awful events that unfolded before John's death. On October 31, 1955, Bush emailed Oppenheimer, telling him that he finished deciphering the servant files from the Dayton-Bedienstedter and asked how Oppenheimer was proceeding with the radio transcripts. Bush and Oppenheimer worked together and kept in contact, meeting with one another in person. However, the Second Red Scare began in the United States, where government officials were censured due to affiliations with communism. Oppenheimer had relatives as well as spouses that were involved with the Communist Party of America, so he was removed from office and lost his clearance to the Dreamland server. In a desperate attempt to secure his files, he sent an email to Bush on January 1, 1956, with his password on it, so that the information would not be lost. Over the next few years, the United States delved into the study of Element 115. However, the Soviet Union, under First Secretary Nikita Sergeyevich Khrushchev, also began study of Element 115, evidenced by its capture of v.III., Shangri-La, and the Siberian outpost. The United States housed many of its experiments in the basement of the Pentagon as well as Area 51. The Soviet Union formed the Ascension Group, which conducted tests primarily at the Baikonur Cosmodrome on behalf of the Soviet Union. Both countries reverse-engineered much of the technology from Group 935. The Soviet Union created the Thundergun Mark II, which was fully operable, as well as the R-7 rocket series. The United States recreated the gas zombies, ray guns, monkey bombs, and teleporters. Both countries recreated the Pack-a-Punch. The United States created the Winter's Howl, a weapon that used Element 115 to freeze targets. Eventually, the Soviet Union abandoned the Siberian outpost due to its harsh conditions, so the United States sent a Marine secret reconnaissance team to scout out the Siberian outpost. They found the VR-11 and they modified it, giving it tactical camouflage and their logo. And for some reason, the weapon, despite that it was supposed to turn zombies back into people, now actually replaced the zombies with agents from the United States. Meanwhile, at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the Casimir mechanism was invented. Its exact purpose was unclear, but it related to the ether in some fashion. Dr. Yuri Zavoisky, member of the Ascension Group, made a disruption that was related to an explosion of the Casimir mechanism that nearly completely destroyed it. As a result, Dr. Gersch, Yuri's superior, removed him from the Element 115 experiments, transferring to him the AK-64-A rocket experiments, where he launched monkeys into space.
Convey my sincere gratitude to you for that. But on to business. I am pleased to report that all projects are running smoothly again after recent personnel changes. As I have previously mentioned, Yuri Zavoysky is a brilliant scientist, but he has so far proven incapable of handling Project Mercury, or as you call it, the Gersch device. So, due to numerous delays and setbacks, I have sadly been forced to transfer Yuri to the 8K64-A experiments. I have decided that your nephew should take his place, and look forward to working with him directly. Yuri's incident with the Casimir mechanism leaves no doubt in my mind that this is the right decision. The explosion caused the mechanism significant damage. It will take time to remanufacture all of the parts, unless some of them can be salvaged. Rockets. He transfers me to work on rockets. These experiments require no physics, no imagination. My intellect is still served blasting a bunch of monkeys into the atmosphere. But I can't fight Gersh over this. I was able to hold on to my keys. Some after-hours research. No one else really understands what Project Mercury is capable of. Until then, this lab will have to do. Wait, is it a matrix doll? Is someone at the time?
Yuri was upset about the transfer, and he claimed that Project Mercury, also known as the Gersh device, was capable of much more than what the others thought. Development on the Gersh device had stalled, and meanwhile Yuri found a diary that contained knowledge of Element 115.
Found the box today. Some rebellion left his teddy bear in it. A disgusting and filthy toy. Who keeps bringing their child onto this space? Thank God they did not take the diary. The things I have learned about Element 1. I'll have to conduct this research on my own, away from the destructive hands of Gersh. His research into Project Mercury is stalled, but will he be transferred? I doubt it. As long as Project remains on track, his friends, I must start small. I assure you that our craft will be far superior to whatever the Americans, or should I say, Canadians, are developing. Finally, Project Thunder is nearing completion. My staff has assured me that the remaining issues of the effective range and power cell size will be solved within the next few months. Oh, and also, you should know that Dr. Zavoysky does not appear to be adjusting to his new position. He has been hostile towards the other scientists, at least more than usual, and has frequently been seen muttering to himself. The transition must have been hard for him, but if he does not learn his place soon, I may require another, more competent scientist to replace him.
Gersh also commented that the Thundergun Mark II, or as he called it, Project Thunder, was coming along well. Yuri kept seeing teddy bears and Matryoshka dolls everywhere, and he even began hearing Samantha's voice in his head. Yuri's sanity began to disappear, likely due to an influence of Element 115 and Samantha. Samantha was alone for a long time. In an effort to play, she gave Yuri diluted inspirations and specifications on modifications to the Gersh device.
This had better be good, Yuri. The fact that you are in this lab again is reason enough to have you permanently removed. You have anything that will ruin it. Do not worry. You will not be disappointed. In fact, I'm sure you won't forget it. But I can't take all the credit. If you will do me the honors.
When Yuri was finished, he fetched Gersh to witness the invention. When Yuri turned it on, it created a vortex that sucked up Gersh, teleporting him to the MPD on the moon, which killed him. The MPD absorbed his soul, and he became a playmate for Samantha. Yuri was conscience-stricken when he realized what he did. Meanwhile, the United States was performing nuclear weapons testing, primarily in Nevada with its other top-secret facilities. A test site called Nuketown was built, and it was built to test the damage of a nuclear explosion on a small town. The town was filled with mannequins to simulate real people. By 1962, a battle was fought at Nuketown between infiltrating Spetsnaz and protecting Black Ops soldiers. The battle ended when the nuclear bomb was dropped nearby, heavily damaging Nuketown and killing all of the soldiers. In Area 51, there was a ruckus at Hangar 18. The area contained many top-secret technologies, such as a repulsor shield generator and Casimir plates. It also had the 4 alien bodies. However, one turned out to still be alive, and it made a bloody escape. This would have been cause for alarm had the Spetsnaz not invaded Hangar 18 at about that time. Black Ops fought them and crushed the invaders, but the alien was long gone. Additionally, Griffin Station was discovered by the United States. In Area 51, they built a teleporter that led to Griffin Station. They made many modifications to the area, and a large teleporter was installed to make ease for mass transit, although they accidentally disrupted the pocket of breathable air that had been in the cave. The United States developed a new division, Call of Duty Zombie Labs, to oversee operations in Area 51 and Griffin Station in matters concerning zombies. They tested zombie behavior in low gravity, among other things such as the zap guns.
Here at Call of Duty Zombie Labs, we have the world's foremost zombie experts, working tirelessly to develop and perfect zombie-killing techniques. Recently, we've discovered a zombie population on the moon. This meant our team needed to do some unconventional research. What we're doing here is something special, getting to know zombies inside and out. We're seeking answers to questions like, how do zombies explode when there is no air? How does the vacuum of space affect the zombie's appetite? We're constantly developing more advanced weaponry and innovating zombie defense methodology. And we will continue to help people stay alive and kill zombies in the most inventive and effective ways, no matter where they are.
Once research became more serious, Call of Duty Zombie Labs initiated Phase 2 of their experiments.
Here at the Call of Duty Zombie Labs, we've initiated Phase 2 of our low-G undead research. We're probing even deeper to find out what makes these zombies tick. Our intensive research has generated some mind-blowing answers to questions like, how do zombies react to the moon's low gravity? And how do they hold up under extreme G-force? We're working round the clock to make sure everyone can hold their own against the zombie onslaught. Because you're not truly alive until you're out killing the undead.
In 1962, zombies overran a portion of Area 51, which was then isolated from both the general public and even the military itself to contain the zombies. This place became known as No Man's Land, and it unfortunately prevented the United States from going back to Griffin Station. Also, sometime before or after this, Soviets also managed to get a hold of Griffin Station before being driven out shortly thereafter by the zombies, but traces of their presence remained. In Hanford, Washington, United States, a region known by some as the Green Run, homage to a nuclear project conducted there long ago, consisted of many undercover operations. Around the time of the Nuketown incident, there were several secretive tasks being conducted by secret Soviet insurgents. A nearby farm was a cover for the housing of a missile and corrosive waste. An artificially intelligent robot with a computer brain and GPS navigation was temporally displaced by Element 115 from the future. The United States barely understood it, but they managed to make use of it. They hooked it up to a bus and contracted Consolidated Coach Corporations to use it to take exclusive government personnel to secret locations around the United States, and the robot became known as the bus driver. On November 7, 1963, United States President John Fitzgerald Kennedy organized a meeting between himself and Cuban Prime Minister Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz at the Pentagon. Kennedy also invited Secretary of Defense Robert Strange McNamara for support, and Senator Richard Milhouse Nixon as a courteous gesture of sportsmanship over his losing the previous election.
For time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. I said, are certain to miss the future.
Oh no, I missed that.
Prime Minister Castro, this missile crisis was the last straw. We almost blew ourselves up. Now, we invited you here today...
In good faith.
In good faith. To sort this thing out.
And why is he here? He lost.
As I always say, forgive your enemies, but remember their names. Now, gentlemen, as I like to think, in the long history of the world, that there are only a few generations.
Sounds like someone breaking in!
It's just a storm, Dick. Sit down.
Oh my God!
It appears the Pentagon has been breached.
Zombies. Gentlemen, at times like these, our capacity to retaliate must be, and has to be, massive to deter all forms of aggression. Gentlemen, lock and load.
Viva la revolución!
Any last words, Mr. President?
Yes, Jack. Any superlative words of inspiration for our humble troops?
Do not pray for easy lives, my friends. Pray to be stronger men.
The order of business was to rectify relations between Cuba and the United States, citing the specific example of the Cuban Missile Crisis from the previous year. They were having the meeting that day at 3:00 p.m., when a zombie outbreak emanated from the experiments in the basement of the Pentagon. They used the weapons found in the Pentagon to try to survive against the zombies in the Battle of Five, and one of the zombies, the Pentagon thief, was rather intelligent. He stole weapons, but it was unknown what caused his transformation to be different than the other zombies. The politicians attempted to use the phones to reach out for emergency assistance, but most of their transmissions were redirected to the Baikonur Cosmodrome for some reason. Eventually, the politicians were separated, and, out of ammo, McNamara hid in a janitor's closet. He reached out for help one last time.
This is Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. I am transmitting on a secure channel in the most dire of circumstances. The Pentagon is under attack from an unknown enemy. As of this moment, I am safely ensconced inside a janitor's closet. Unfortunately, I fear the President and the VIPs may not have found similar safe haven. From what I have observed, our attackers may be blighted by some kind of sickness. Either that or they're just dirty hippies under the influence of hallucinogenic substances. I can only hope that this message will bring rescue. Until then, please, pray for me.
In his last words, McNamara lied, claiming that he didn't know of the Department of Defense's secret zombie experiments, but he begged for rescue. The politicians died. Castro's death drastically affected the state of Cuban relations with the United States, and the deaths of Kennedy, McNamara, and Nixon were a great tragedy to the United States that would be felt for decades. Meanwhile, despite Gersch being gone, the Ascension group minimally improved the Thundergun Mark II into the Thundergun Mark III by improving its reloading capabilities. The only known Thundergun Mark III was sent as part of a weapon cache to Kowloon City, Hong Kong, China. On February 20th, 1968, Ryan Jackson, who is now a chief analyst, wrote a report containing information about Pavel Gorky to Richard Kane. Sometime in 1969, the subjects finally reappeared. They had teleported from 1946 at Der Riese to this time at Kino der Toten.
Where are we? A better question is...
When are we?
No! Where the hell is my vodka?
Yes, of course. The DJ2 must have overloaded the teleporter, ripping space-time, backtracing us to the future. How wonderful!
There's my vodka. Thank you, Takeo. Oh, come on, Tax. Suck it up and walk it off.
Entry 741021! Perhaps this station will hold the key to the real goals of Group 935. I still do not trust my unconventional allies, but they are of great use to me. But I digress. Who would have thought the MDT was capable of time travel? How many stations does this group have? Where did that little girl disappear to? Only time will tell what new questions await us in this theater of the damned.
Richtofen experienced a bit of delusion immediately after the teleport. Kino der Toten had long been abandoned, and what exactly happened in those 20 years was unknown to most. Somehow a Thundergun Mark II ended up there. The first one continued to assist in certain battles, but it began to go a step further by introducing small bits of information in the forms of manipulation of notes and radios. It displaced the radio that detailed the group's arrival into the future into the past. Strangely enough, the four also found a recording revolving around the Great Leap Forward movement in China.
These villagers were portrayed in propaganda films as happy and highly motivated, although in fact, they were soon to suffer a terrible moral and physical collapse. Tens of thousands of people died as a result of industrial accidents in the hazardous conditions they were made to work in. The Communist Party came up with a crude calculation that every worker will build 1 meter of canal and the project will end in 3 months. Yet it actually took more than 10 years to finish the canal. During the Great Leap Forward, factory workers' hours were doubled, and machines began to work non-stop. They were not even allowed to stop for maintenance and repairs, and so soon began to fall apart. Factories were ruined. At the same time, Mao announced another target for the Great Leap Forward. Steel production was to be doubled within 1 year. That production was not only from heavy industry complexes, but also from small furnaces and villages. As a result of communist ideology, Mao believed that workers' power held a magical force. With that decision, tens of millions of Chinese set out to produce steel by amateur methods. Everything made of iron they could find, from doorknobs to saucepans, was melted down in primitive furnaces in an effort to produce steel. Men cut off their hair and mixed it with the clay in the furnaces.
Some of the zombies that were contained in the canisters had broken loose, starting a zombie outbreak. Many gas zombies were also rampant. The subjects fought against the zombies in the Battle of Kino der Toten until Richtofen found the pocket teleporter and used it to teleport them away to the Baikonur Cosmodrome in 1963, at the same time as the Pentagon outbreak. The subjects found that the Baikonur Cosmodrome was completely overrun with zombies. Richtofen grabbed a spacesuit to wear. The pocket teleporter only worked once and it then became non-functioning. They fought against the zombies in the Battle of Ascension at the same time as the politicians at the Pentagon, although in Russia the time was midnight. Samantha tortured Gersch in the ether for her own amusement. He begged the subjects to help him.
Please, help me. She's coming. The mechanism must be repaired.
Meanwhile, the AK-64-A rocket modules that launched long ago occasionally rained down at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and the Element 115 reanimated the space monkeys within them. The Gersch device was a fully functioning weapon that created black holes for zombie killing and for teleportation. Samantha even created a weapon of her own, the explosive Matryoshka dolls. The subjects launched the R-7 rocket present at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and then they started fixing the Casimir mechanism. They first put a generator back in its place.
You've done it. Now, it needs as much power as possible. Hurry! She's getting nearer!
They then connected the computer network to the Casimir mechanism, activating Node 1.
3 more! No! Stop it!
They then connected the power from the Perca-Cola machines to the Casimir mechanism, activating Node 2.
There needs to be more concentrated power for this to work!
They then connected the power output from the R-7 rocket launch pad, activating Node 3.
Yes! Yes! Almost there! Hurry! She's coming!
They then requested the power from the letter-shaped power-ups orchestrated by Gersch.
The Casimir mechanism is active! Quickly! Open the portal!
They then gave the Casimir mechanism more power by blasting it with wonder weapons, such as the Thundergun Mark II and Gersch devices. All these things fully charged the Casimir mechanism. When it was fully charged, it freed Gersch's soul from Samantha's confinement, and Gersch wandered into the ether, forever contemplating.
Ah, yes! I'm free! I cannot thank you enough for releasing me from that horrible place!
Tank began to realize that his memory was lacking. Takeo, however, began to remember everything that Richthofen had done to him, and he vowed vengeance upon Richthofen. Richthofen also developed a crush on Nikolai, and it became clear to the others that Richthofen had a secret agenda.
Richthofen. I don't like him. I think I've seen him before Shi No Numa, but can't quite remember. In fact, can't remember much at all from before.
Richthofen. I don't know why he likes me so much. Maybe he's trying for a free drink. I don't give free drinks.
I think Dempsey is like a goose. He wake up in new world every day. I don't think he remembers anything from before. Nikolai's presence brings me dishonor. He tries to drown the past. It will consume him one day. I do not think he remembers anything. Richthofen. His evil is great, but not as great as what we fight today. One day, when the time is right, I will make him pay for what he has done!
Eventually, the subjects used a Gersch device as a portable teleporter to teleport themselves to the Siberian outpost. In 1990, the United States revealed the heart publicly. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. George Andrew Romero was a famous writer and a director of zombie-related scripts and films. In the 2000s, he found some Nazi documents detailing Group 935's experiments, so naturally he wanted to produce a zombie movie about it. He decided to shoot the film at the Siberian outpost, and shooting began in March 2011. At that time, the subjects arrived at a teleporter within a closet in the Siberian outpost, but they arrived much later in time than Richthofen had hoped. George recruited 4 actors for the film. Sarah Michelle Gellar was famous for her role in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Robert Barton Englund was famous for his role in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Danny Trejo was famous for his role in Machete. Michael Rooker was famous for his role in The Walking Dead. They began filming the movie Call of the Dead.